Yeah.
Yeah, I watched about 20 minutes of it the other day. I wanted to listen to the chairman.
Are we on, are we on, are we on?
We're on now.
Oh,
We're on
okay.
now.
Then we'll talk later. What time is it? We got 5 minutes.
We have 5 minutes. Madam Clerk, either, I would like to get together with you to discuss the meeting. Or perhaps we could this Friday. You're not going to roll. It's very cool. Wow. Wow. Yeah. Go behind it. I committed to that. So that's going to be a Friday.
Did you see the document? Sure. Deputy?
No, that was a couple firefighters.
Oh. That'd be like something else.
I heard Carl was gonna be singing for us today.
You want to practice the pledge now?
No.
I'll try to do the practice. Did we get that on the tape?
No, you need both, right? To pay those, it wasn't one or the other, it was both. Okay, that's right. That's what I thought.
Let's know about this.
Town of Waukesha Special Town Board Meeting, November 19th, beginning at 6:30 PM. I'd like to call the meeting to order and begin with Pledge of Allegiance. Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Chairman Merrick,
Present.
Supervisor Fisher,
Here.
Supervisor Radke,
Here.
Supervisor Durr,
Here.
Supervisor Wolf.
Here.
And Madam Clerk, have we met all of the requirements of the open meetings law?
Yes, we have.
And we can begin with citizens' comments. Seeing none, we'll move on. New business, discussion and possible action on the following: authorization to purchase a DPW patrol truck. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to authorize the chairman to spend up to $50,000 for a DPW patrol truck.
Is there a second?
Second.
Discussion?
Question of Clerk Treasurer Nicholas. Looking at our recap sheet on our capital outlay summary, I want to make sure I'm reading this correctly. I see that in the line item entitled 2011 carryover, we had a $15,000 line item for a highway truck for public works. Then $100,000 budgeted in 2013, which would carry over as well. So am I correct in concluding that we have $115,000 available, which was committed for the purpose of the acquisition of a highway truck or highway trucks? So that is capital money that's previously committed. Am I correct in that understanding?
That's correct.
Thank you.
So you guys went to look at this, right?
Yes.
For auction, the auction ends in the next few days,
Yes.
right? The last one's from the county, which was October 10th. Just so you know, they had a 2004 single axle patrol dump truck with a plow and a spreader, sold for $50,000 even. 2004 Freightliner sold for $48,700.
Do you know what the mileage was on these?
Yeah.
Great.
The 2004 was $94,000.
Okay.
Listed as fair condition. The other 2004 had $116,000 listed as fair. 2005 had $83,000. That one went for $56,100.
I'm sorry, I'm getting confused here. The first 2004 had 50,000, went for $94,000.
No.
Vice versa.
Vice versa. At
94,000.
94,000 miles,
Oh, yes, I'm
sold for
sorry.
$50,000.
Yeah, 94,000 sold for $50,000. Okay. And the second one,
Was a 2004 Freightliner as well, went for $48,700.
thank you.
Had 116,000 miles.
Got it.
And the last one was a 2005.
And had,
84,000 miles and went for $56,100.
okay.
I don't know the year of the first one on here. That one I didn't keep the front page. I'm assuming it's a 2004, 91,000 miles. But doesn't show me the price, but I'm assuming we're in that range.
Sure.
So you may be a little shy on that.
Good.
My concern is this. I didn't see it. I have to trust your guys' judgment. I'm sure it's fine for what the town does, but I'm also sure that there needs to be work done on it. My concern is that we've got a small DPW staff, and if you buy this, they have to get it ready and working. Who's going to make the call and who's going to get it ready other than our two guys? Do we have a mechanic that can do that?
It does need some work. In fact, it has a coolant line that is rusted out that needs to be replaced, and it has a hydraulic line that's rusted out and needs to be replaced. Those two for sure. It probably needs a set of batteries. And my suggestion would be to take it to the Freightliner dealer and have that stuff done.
Yeah.
We know going in, we're going to spend some money on it.
New ones, a little bit smaller, run about 110 brand new. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'm just not sure it's the best idea. I think the orange truck that we have, whoever bought that, it was a mistake. It's not geared for what we use it for.
The Top Kick or the International?
The International.
International, yeah.
It works, it's drivable, but I think we spend more time fixing it and making it fit than it's worth. Now, again, I don't know the history, I don't know who bought it, I don't know who authorized it, doesn't really matter.
Right.
But I have a hunch that that wasn't the best choice at the time. My concern on this is I bought vehicles from auctions. You don't always know what you're getting. I'm personally, and through my experience, am more comfortable going through a truck that's been checked, that's ready to go, and you're not just buying sight unseen, basically. So that's my concern. So based on that, I got to trust your guys' judgment, but I won't vote for it. But if it passes, I'll support you guys 100%.
A question or two. So this is going to be put up for public auction tomorrow? Is that what is going to take place?
It's already on auction. It ends on Thursday. at
Okay.
10 a.m.
And people are responding how, or what's the mechanics of that auction, if you will? Can
It's
you explain that
all
to me?
internet based.
Okay. All right, I understand. Do either one of you know, was this in service last season or not? Or is it just part of their regular rotation to get things out of use? Or do we know anything about that aspect of it?
They're on a 7-year rotation. So all vehicles get retired after 7 years. Occasionally, they keep them for an extra year, sometimes two, as spares as needed. If they're worried about new vehicles coming in that may not land in time for a season, whether that be the paving season or snow and ice control season. This one was taken out of service and set in the back parking lot. I think he said it was working up until
November.
November.
Yeah,
And
early
it-
November. It was used primarily in New Berlin, primarily for sweeping operations with a sweeper on the front.
I think that's part of the reason that it's pretty clean underneath. The frame is still black. I mean, it is not all rusted and rotted out. It's a pretty clean truck.
Some of the things that I found attractive to the truck were the fact that it only has 62,000 miles on it. It's part of the county's normal rotation, so it's going out of service because it's hitting the normal rotation, not because they're having problems with it. Albeit what the chairman said is true, they did identify two specific issues. My recommendation to Jerry is if we're successful at purchasing this truck, that it goes right from the garage to get repaired so that we can get it in service. I mean, one of the things that attracts me to this truck is that we can have it in service for this year. I agree with your assessment of the International, and I don't discount the fact that we should continue in the direction of purchasing a new truck relatively soon to be ready for next year's season. But as you've communicated to me, I mean, a new truck purchase now is out in June, July. So it doesn't affect this season. And frankly, I would be in favor of selling the International at some point. I don't know that the DPW agrees with me on that, but if we purchase this truck and then an additional new truck, I don't see us keeping that International just because it's a good workhorse. And while it's not what we need for plowing, the DPW does like it because of the amount of weight that you can put in it to haul. So, but I wouldn't see us keeping that many trucks for sure.
Depending on what direction we go, I think that depends on what direction we go with future plowing activities. Are we going to take over more routes? The International really is a truck that you would want to keep around for mains. You don't want to take it in and try and do cul-de-sacs. It's not what it's, you mentioned, Jim, its gearing and so forth. It's too big for that.
Right.
But if it were used specifically for mains,
Perhaps.
it's something that we would keep around, but something.
It's another discussion.
It's
Right?
a discussion for another day.
So that's what I find attractive about this particular truck.
Question, if I might, I know we have had past discussions about the big truck and the smaller truck. The International is the big truck, correct? I mean, this is a rather simplistic question.
Yes.
And I know there have been differences of opinion expressed on the usability, suitability, maneuverability of those. This truck that is being auctioned off, is that in some ways comparable to our smaller truck, or can somebody educate me about that a little bit, please?
It's really not this, it's much larger than Top Kick, and it is physically a little bit smaller than the International, but its maneuverability is better because of the way that the plow is set up and how plows back in the day that International was built, where the plow is put on it, it sticks. The plow on the International sticks substantially further out, and its maneuverability in a cul-de-sac would be very limited compared to a new plow patrol truck that the county has been purchasing the last several years.
Part of the problem, the primary problem with the International, not only to the gearing that Supervisor Radke talked about, but the plow sits about 6 feet in front of the front bumper. Just the way it's engineered and built, where the Top Kick that we own and the patrol truck that we're looking at, the plow is essentially right at the front bumper, and that changes the maneuverability of the truck.
I guess I'll make one other comment. I'm inclined to support the motion. I have to defer to those of you on the board who have more expertise about this than do I. And that's probably everybody on the board. Not afraid to admit that. I have been an advocate of acquiring at least one additional patrol truck or highway truck, be it new or used, for the past couple of years. Have supported putting money in the budget to do that. I'll defer to those of you who are wiser than me whether this is the appropriate acquisition to make, but I will support the motion and allow you to use your discretion in that regard.
Supervisor Radke, I have a question. You started the conversation with 94,000 mile truck that went for 50,000, 116,000 mile truck that went for 48,000, and an 84,000 mile truck that went for 56,000. Is it your contention that if we want to make a serious effort at this truck, that we're not allocating enough funds to be serious about it?
Well, I'd hate you to lose out over $1,000 or $2,000. You know, if we're going to go through this exercise and you get there and it's the last final bid and you can't bid on it because you only got an authorization to go to 50, I think you'd be disappointed.
I agree.
Again, I'm not saying this is the right idea. You can buy a new truck that's already built today. If you order one, yes, it'll take you till probably June to get it finished. I'm just not convinced this is the right one right now. Knowing the county and the budgets that they go through and how they work on their vehicles, I'm thinking this has got a few surprises that we don't know about. And to have our staff that has to contend with that tries to do, I think, too much themselves, I'm just not comfortable with buying one from an auction site.
Is it fair to assume whoever acquires this, you're purchasing it as is? Is that it? Simply, there are no representations, there are no guarantees, there are no warranties, there are no assurances. You accept it as is.
As is, as shown.
Thank you.
At auction, then I talked to Jerry and you had not driven it. Is that normal? Do they not let you drive vehicles when you buy them at auction?
I doubt that they would let you drive county vehicles, yes. Where we wouldn't be insured for them, no.
So we don't know how it runs or anything yet then.
It was taken out of service purely for time, not because of mechanical problems. That being said, do you want to revise the dollar amount on the motion?
The last auction that happened, the only reason I know is because I was looking at a different piece of equipment, a specialized snow blower that was kind of a novelty that we thought would go for a cheap price. And it was on the same time frame that these were going from the county, so we were kind of watching it. The attractive part of it was it started low, and I'm looking at it right now, and I'm assuming you're looking at the 2006. Right? There's two of them on there. There's one with 64,000 and one with 128,000 miles.
I think we were only interested in the 62 or 64.
So
Yes.
it's currently at 36.5. And again, just sharing my past opinion with you. As we watched this the last time, the last day is when it shot up
Certainly.
quite a bit.
Yeah.
So we may think that, wow, this will be a great deal at
No,
36.
I'm pretty sure it's
probably-
not going to go for $40,000.
Yeah.
It's the way auctions work.
Yeah, just so we're all clear. But again, I, having not looked at it, not having a mechanic look at it, and knowing that there are other options out there, and that, in my opinion, I think a newer vehicle without any maintenance issues for our staff would be a better idea. I won't vote for it, but if you guys decide and the majority runs with it, as I've always said, I'll support whatever the majority does, but I won't vote for it.
Have any additional thoughts? You looked at it.
There's always a gamble when you buy a used vehicle. Regardless of what you buy and who you buy it from, there's always a gamble. I don't have any particular fears about this vehicle. It seems to have been pretty light duty. Its primary use was sweeping, hence the lower mileage. And the roads that it was used on, they mentioned the roads. It was Coffee Road and a couple other smaller county roads. It seems like a pretty decent truck. Could there be issues down the road? Sure. Is it going to have some immediate needs? Yes. But at 50% of price of new, I think that's a pretty good route for the town.
I feel like in this case that we're finding a truck, and the market's going to price it clearly, but we're finding a truck that is in a replacement program because it's in a replacement program. And sometimes when trucks are in a replacement program, just because they're in a replacement program, they're being replaced because they're in the replacement program, not because they're a problem. And I think we might have that opportunity here. I don't mean to say that we're going to get it cheap because of that reason, but I think that we can get a decent truck at a reasonable price because of that reason.
Knowing how maintenance shops work, and if they knew that this was retiring, and you've got a limited staff, because I know diesel mechanics are hard to find. It's hard to find good ones. As you get towards the end of life expectancy of it, and you're getting rid of it, you don't do particular maintenance on it.
Right.
So things fall by the wayside. So yeah, it may have been an okay truck. I'll tell you, if it was a great truck, they'd have kept it in rotation. They're getting rid of 2004s. That clearly then would be past their rotation period. I'm not convinced that what we hear from the county is always 100%, but I think you guys did do some good homework. You checked with the people that are in charge, and hopefully you got to go by what they're saying, that it was light duty and there's nothing major that they know of. But I'm just a little nervous of just buying one without a mechanic looking at it. And how some of our constituents will just bury us if there's issues with us. And
There's
we'll
going to be
never-
issues. We already know there's issues. There are going to be issues. It's a used vehicle.
Okay. I would revise my motion to move that to $60,000. Who seconded it?
Larry?
If you would support that.
Yeah, I guess I'll support that, up to 60.
Right.
Further discussion? As mentioned, since we're not certain if a roll call vote is needed spending that money, let's proceed that way.
Supervisor Radke,
I'll abstain.
Supervisor Wolf,
Yes.
Dur,
Yes?
sorry, Supervisor Dur,
Yes.
Supervisor Fisher,
Yes.
Chairman Merrick.
Yes. Motion carries. Let's move on to 6, motion for adjournment.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. We are adjourned.
Unbelievably good job. Even the simple ones are quite often.